These are some weird books. These books are not real, but the glances from subway riders are. In 2016, comedian Scott Rogowski custom-made ridiculous book covers to see how New Yorkers would react. Some of the book titles were bizarre, and others were pretty embarrassing. UCLA librarian Megan Rosenblum has an interesting hobby, hunting down books that have been bound with human skin.
Thus far, the Anthropodermic Book Project has been able to identify about 50 alleged human skin books in public libraries and museums.
Rosenblum says most of the books found in human skin came from doctors in the 19th century.
So one of the things that is really creepy about actually holding a human skin book is that they look like any other antique book on the shelf. It's almost like this creepy secret that the book has. It can be any color, it can be any kind of texture, it can be any kind of book covering you can think of.
In 2019, this teeny tiny book written by a teen sold at an auction for almost $1 million. It wasn't just any teen though. It was the work of Charlotte Bronte, one of the most celebrated writers in the English language. The 1830 tome was incredibly rare.
So this manuscript was written by Charlotte Bronte when she was 14 years old, so just a teenager. It's a collection of short stories that were published in like a journal, like a magazine, and it was used to play with her brothers and sisters in their imaginary world called Glasstown.
The wee manuscript consists of 4,000 words on 20 pages. There were only 4 others like it. Charlotte and her siblings Anne, Emily, and Bronwell would use the little books as scripts, playing along to their stories with toy soldiers. The volume was purchased by the Bronte Society, and it will reside in the Bronte Parsonage Museum. These books look like garbage because that's where Max Brown found them.
I do believe that somebody probably just didn't know what they had.
Incredibly, they once belonged to the 3rd President of the United States. Inside one of them was a handwritten note that read, "From the Library of Thomas Jefferson."
I didn't think it was real. The first thing I did obviously was try to verify if the signature was his on the inside, and it was not his signature.
The books, published in 1621, were written in French. In 2018, Max discovered the historic literary work in a Nevada dumpster while doing some community service.
The books were in very bad shape. They had been wet from the rain and they started to develop a mold.
He then sold them to an auction house for $8,000. In October of 2023, a library book that was 90 years overdue was finally returned.
A woman reached out to us and said she had been cleaning out her father-in-law's estate and came across this book, looked to be ours and looked to be way overdue.
Way overdue.
It's a little shy of 90 years.
If the library had charged a daily overdue fee, the bill would have been hefty.
We did approximate math for if it had just built to infinity, and this book would have been $6,400 about.
The fine for this one was only $5, which the library waived.
In the end of the day, we would just like to get our books back.
In October of 2023, a 318-year-old book sparked a mystery in Iowa.
When I opened it up, the pages they make a noise when you turn them. That's a little different than a new book. They feel a little different, and the book smells a little different than any other book. And that's when I knew it was probably worth looking into more.
Kathy Magruder found a leather-bound Bible in the back of a retirement home library. She told KCCI that she knew this was something special.
I started looking into it and I fell into a rabbit hole.
The rabbit hole led Magruder all the way down to Scotland in the year 1705. This book was the King James Version of the Christian Bible. The torn copyright and title pages led the bookstore owner to think this book might have been printed illegally, because the printers did not have the monarchy's permission to work in that trade. Through death and marriage records handwritten into the Bible, Magruder was able to trace the family who originally owned it.
When I found the names in a genealogy, you could probably hear me yell out here in the front of the store, "Woo, got it!"
But now she's hit a dead end. Magruder's next mystery is to solve how the 318-year-old Bible made its way from Scotland to Iowa.
I'm working on it, but I'm just having so much fun with the research.
For Inside Edition Digital, I'm Andrea Swindall.